One great way for fans to show their appreciation when their team wins a game is to welcome them back home. Sometimes this takes place in the form of a rally at a stadium, but a lot of the times it takes place with people showing up to the airport to greet the players and cheer them on as they get off the plane. You even saw this last year when a bunch of Bills fans greeted their team at the airport after beating the Steelers on Sunday Night Football to clinch a playoff spot. Most of the time, there's nothing wrong with this. But in 1980, when Cleveland fans tried to show their appreciation in this manner, it resulted in disaster. And this is the story behind that. First, we need some context behind what prompted the celebration. It's November 30th, 1980, and the Cleveland Browns are taking on the Houston Oilers at the Astrodome in this AFC Central rivalry. Not only is this a huge game, but at this point, this might be the biggest game of the entire NFL season. Cleveland enters this one at 8-4. Houston enters this one at 8-4. The Oilers won the first meeting on Monday Night Football by a final score of 16-7, in a game where they let their offense run wild, running for 192 yards. The winner of this one has the lead in the AFC Central with just 3 games left to play. The loser of this one is in danger of missing the postseason entirely, especially considering how competitive the AFC is, and since the 2-time defending Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers are right behind them in the division at 8-5 after they beat the Dolphins. This time, the Browns come out on top. Running back Cleo Miller only scored 3 touchdowns in 1980, but 2 of them came when it mattered most in this game. The Browns jumped out to a 14-0 lead in the first half, then held on in a scoreless fourth quarter to win it 17-14. Cleveland pulled off the upset victory on the road, and now had control of first place in the AFC Central. It was one of the biggest wins for the franchise in years, as now it was looking like they were going to make it to the postseason for the first time since 1972. And Browns fans wanted to show their appreciation, and wanted to greet the team after they landed back in Cleveland. But what happened next was borderline disastrous. With the game ending at roughly 7 p.m. Eastern, fans started lining up at the airport 2 hours later at 9 o'clock. Lots and lots of fans. In fact, there were 10,000 Browns fans ready to celebrate at Cleveland Hopkins Airport. Naturally, this caused a traffic jam along I-71. When nobody was moving, people abandoned their cars and walked over half a mile to get to the airport, with many people even missing their flights. And it only got worse. Cleveland police were not ready for this crowd. They sent 35 officers to the scene to try and control everything. Now, if you do the math, if there's 35 people on one side and 10,000 people on the other side, more often than not, the side with 10,000 people is going to win. Less than 90 minutes after the initial crowd started forming, fans pushed through the rope and barrier that the police set up. At that point, it was like the Wild West. The police were hopeless, and what happened next was a crush. As the flight, which was supposed to arrive at 11:10, arrived after midnight, dozens of people in the crush fainted. Fortunately, nobody died, but lots of people were attended to by airport medical personnel. Eventually, after midnight, as the crowd became unruly and some people got injured, the plane landed. Browns players were notified of the crowd and were divided on what to do. Some players left via the normal exit concourse so that they could be cheered on by the fans and show their appreciation. Others who knew about the situation decided that they wanted no part of it and left via a private security gate. At the end of the day, much like the disastrous incidents that happened at the 1981 divisional round game between Buffalo and Cincinnati, this could have been much worse, since nobody died. That video is in the upper right corner. The win would be huge for Cleveland, as they went on to win the AFC Central and host a playoff game, before they lost in the infamous Red Right 88 game. A defense of that play is in the upper right corner. And Houston would still wind up making the playoffs that year as well, though they would lose in the wildcard round. While the airport celebrations can be a great way to show appreciation, in this case, it was more of a crash landing. Be sure to like this video and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.